Anybody want to talk? We can sign in or that. You have none.
I have none.
You have none. Now you want to talk? We have to come on and want to talk.
Okay, please set your phones to vibrate or silent. We'll go ahead and get started here in just a second. Okay, at 6:01. You guys ready? Ready? Everybody ready? Okay. Welcome everyone for tonight's regular session of Urbana City Council for October 4th, 2016. Roll call, please.
Mr. Hoffman.
Here.
Mr. Pena.
Here.
Mr. Thackeray.
Here.
Mr. Piper.
Here.
Mr. Paul.
Here.
Mr. Scott.
Here.
Mr. Fields.
Here.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first item on the agenda is the approval of minutes for the session of September 20th, 2016. Do we have a motion on those minutes?
So moved. Second.
Okay. Any questions or additions or changes to the minutes? Okay, all in favor of accepting the minutes as prepared, please vote aye or nay.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, it passes unanimously. Thank you. Communications, Madam Clerk.
Stormwater Advisory Committee minutes of August 29, 2016 and September 12, 2016. Email September 29, 2016. Planning Commission minutes of June 27, 2016, July 25th, 2016, and August 22nd, 2016. Email September 29th, 2016. Design Review Board minutes of July 11th, 2016, and August 22nd, 2016. Email September 29th, 2016. Board of Zoning Appeals minutes of June 13, 2016, and August 8th, 2016. Emailed September 29, 2016. And OPL Cemetery Board minutes of August 18, 2016. Emailed September 30, 2016.
Okay, very busy communication set there. Would you like to handle them one at a time, or would you rather handle them all at once?
I'll make a motion that we discuss and accept these minutes as combined as a group.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, Thackeray. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we'll accept all those communications as prepared. Administrative reports of Board of Control, please.
Number one, the Board of Control recommends council authorize a purchase order to Stantec Consulting Services Incorporated in the amount of $9,894 for needed plan revisions, specifications, and bidding documents for the construction of the proposed T hangar and conventional hangar. This expense will be charged to the appropriate open FAA AIP grants and Airport Capital Improvement Fund and is in the 2016 budget. The FAA AIP grant will fund 90% of this cost, resulting in a net cost of $989.40 to the city. Vote 2-0.
Okay, council, we have a motion on Board of Control item number one.
So moved. Second.
Okay. Do we have any questions on this item? Any clarifications needed? Administration, any further clarification that you want to add?
I can just give you a quick update on one of the things that obviously the hangars are on hold because we had the question come back from one of the neighbors about potential interference with their historic place. opportunity while it's kind of off the table to reevaluate and look for an opportunity to see if we can adjust the location of those hangars a little bit further to the north to help us improve our position of being successful in working with the neighbor to satisfy any potential encroachment issues. So what this is there's a two-step. There's a first phase of this is around, I don't have a breakdown, it's around $5,000 would be incurred this year to do some of the preliminary engineering, site plan prep. Then the other part would be incurred in 2017, so we'd have to break, the PO would be broken again, we'd have to reissue it first of the year for the other part when we get ready to go out for bids, and hopefully by then we'll have everything in place. But the idea is to move the T-hangers approximately 70 feet to the north, just to get us out a little bit further away from the southern boundary and put us in a better position for, we believe, to be a little more acceptable as we get into the final discussions with the neighbor. Once we get final word from the State Historical Preservation Office and work through that process. So we're still kind of in limbo, but we want to go ahead and do some work on the backside and get ready for the opportunity when it comes back at it.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay, questions, Mr. Piper?
I have a question, who's building these hangars? Are there a business or somebody?
Yeah, there's a gentleman, private investor, Roger Crone Aviation. He's planning on building the hangar.
Well, then why are we paying out $984?
Because it's on our property, ultimately they're gonna be our hangars, and since he's putting it on our property, we have to do the engineering and the construction for the infrastructure that goes underneath it. He's gonna build it from the pad up.
I'm just curious.
Yep.
Thank you.
Mr. Pena?
So moving it over 70 feet, how much, we were talking about future builds, is that gonna mess anything up in the future?
No, the intent is if we can move this to the north about 70, 75 feet. We're gonna realign all the T-hangars so they're gonna be more in line with the current hangar going westward. So we won't have that, encroachment back to the south. We were kind of pushing these back a little bit, and we just felt it was an opportunity while it's off the depth, off the table on hold, we go ahead and realign everything so we can get the utilities set up to go next year.
Thank you.
Mr. Thackeray?
Interested in what the historic structure is that it's in conflict with.
I'm sorry?
I'm interested in what the historic structure is that
It's
it's in conflict with.
Nutwood Place, which is the round barn.
Okay,
There's a,
that's what I figured it was.
Yeah.
Okay. And then just one further away, or so it's not in sight?
there's a claim that we'd be interfering with the historic value or whatever of the round barn.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Scott?
Are your bid documents just for infrastructure, or is it the building itself?
Well, it'll be, the entire bid package will include the infrastructure, the taxiway, the ramp, all the preliminary, all the bid documents that we had last year, or this year. So this is just to remodify the drawings and reset all the elevations, and get all that reset. So when we go out for bid next year, they'll have new, baseline information.
Thank you.
Mr. Hoffman?
It seems like obviously our cost is $989, and I'm completely fine with it, but just in general, to move something 70 feet, is the elevation, is it that, or is it got more to do with the FAA and the regulations involved?
It's just, I think what has to happen on the engineering side, make sure everything's FAA qualified.
I think you can take the drawing on a map and just slide it over.
You have to validate all your elevations, and reset all your
Okay.
data points.
No, this is a good project for the city and the airport and stuff. That's all I have.
And we spoke with, Mr. Crone yesterday, we had a conference call with him, he understands where we're at, we're still on hold. Obviously he has an investment already into this thing, so he's gonna be working with us over the next few months, trying to, get himself in place for next year.
Mr. Fields?
Nothing.
Any last questions, council? Administration, any last thoughts, items to add? Okay. All those in favor of accepting the Board of Control item for purchase order to Stantec Consulting Services for $98.94 for plan revisions, specifications, and bidding documents for the T-hangars at the airport, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes
Park. The project was approved under the ODNR NatureWorks grant, and the city will be reimbursed $28,093, resulting in a net cost to the city of $33,952. This expense will be charged to capital improvement, recreation, and is in the 2016 budget. Vote 2-0.
Okay, council, to speak to this item, we need a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Who was the?
That.
Okay, thank you.
We got
Okay.
as we've discussed, we've gone out and we were approved for a NatureWorks grant to build a new restroom facility at the, not sure what park they call that, part of the park. It's where the quad, small diamond, baseball diamonds are, where they play, coach pitch, girls softball, t-ball on one side, I think Pony League concession stand there, right in the center of, drive on Children's Home Road. The original intent was to construct a restroom / storage, had a small storage area adjacent to the existing concession stand, that would be where the asphalt appendage is off the parking lot, and try to tie all that together. We went out for bid, and the anticipated cost that we applied for, what preliminary estimates were, came in around $62,000. However, we had 5 sets of drawings go out, we only got 1 bid returned, and it was over $90,000. So in the bid contract, in the specifications, when Bree and I set these up, because of the timing, we're getting into the end of the year, we knew we were gonna be needing to keep moving. We had language in the bid document that we give us the opportunity to take the lowest and best bid contractor and work on value engineering to get it down into where it fits our budget. So working with Howell Construction, we've done a couple of things. One is we've reduced some of the space that we don't absolutely have to make this work. We eliminated the storage area that was adjacent, that was part of the building construction. We eliminated the requirement for it to be an all-block structure, because that just adds a lot of labor, a lot of cost to the project. And we reduced the size of the restroom by 1 stall on each side. So the women's side has 3 stalls, 2 sinks, and the men's side has 1 stall and 2 urinals and 2 sinks. So rather than having 4 stalls on each side, we end up with 3 stalls on each side. To get that down, we came in just about where we needed to be, using 2x6 stud frame, metal siding, metal roof, and FRP interior walls to allow us to wash everything down, keep it clean. So trying to value engineer and get it down to where it fits into our budget, fits into the scope of the project. That's where we're at. So last Monday, a week ago Monday, we went to the planning commission. We got approval through our zoning department to get our zoning permit. Once we have the money approved, and ODNR is doing a final review of the plans, and we're hoping to get a building permit possibly at the end of the week, early next week, get things started this fall. And the weather holds, the anticipation is to try to get the structure built this year. And any leftover work, if we get shut down for the winter, we'll come back early spring and wrap it up and get it ready to go by spring, so we can be in operation when baseball season kicks in next April. So one of the things I want to kind of emphasize, we don't have any restroom facilities in that area of the park. We have quite a number of participants and families that use that end of the park. In order to go to the restroom, we either have to use porta pots, A, if they're functional, B, if they're not tipped over, whatever. Or you have to walk up to the slow pitch diamond, or walk over by the soccer fields to the Melvin Miller Youth Sports Building, or you have to go to the pool. So this will give us, an opportunity to get some facilities down in that area where when you have weekend tournaments, larger groups, we'll be able to help spread the usage out a little bit across the park. Long time coming.
Mr. Fields, any questions?
This will be handicap accessible.
Handicap accessible. Thank you.
Mr. Hoffman?
Yeah, being out in the park a lot, one of the very few negatives try to keep them clean, but you know how that goes. Clarification, so is this gonna be kinda in the outfield, the way outfield of field 8, in between field 8 and the Pony League field?
I should have maybe brought a drawing.
Field 8 is the one that faces towards the
Do
Pony
you go in
League.
do you go in that big parking lot like you're gonna run right into the concession stand?
Yes, sir, just to the
It's
right.
gonna be just to the left of the concession stand, right up next to the parking lot.
Also, it's gonna be on the other side of the parking
It'll-
lot
it'll
from
be
the
just-
quad.
Yeah, it'll be just adjacent to the parking lot, at that end, right adjacent to the existing concession stand.
So it'll be real close to the Pony League concession.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Is that it?
That's
Okay.
a long time coming.
Mr. Scott?
You got a sanitary line there?
We're gonna bring one to it. Yeah, we've already worked
At
with
the
Chad.
city's expense, or is that part of the contract?
No, we're responsible to bring the utility to the contract, to the site. We've got water and sewer coming to the site.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Thackeray?
Are these facilities open 24 hours, or are they closed at certain
They're
times?
gonna be probably what they normally do is keep them open during daylight hours or when there's activities, and then somewhere at the end of the event, someone would be responsible to shut them up for the night. They usually don't keep them open 24/7 if they can help it.
Mr. Pena?
And when we came up with the first $62,000 for four stalls on both sides, now that we got a $9,000 offer, we're losing some stalls,
There's one on each side.
just one on each side. I thought you said one stall.
So you have, on the men's side, you have one stall and 2
Okay.
urinals, and then 2 sinks.
Okay, all right, misunderstood that. That's all I got.
6 times more than what we have now.
Oh, was
Yeah.
it?
You could
Mr.
probably
Riker?
get one.
That was the only bid we got then, other than the $90,000.
Yeah, and if he hadn't submitted it, he wouldn't have had an opportunity, we would have had to start all over. This has been kind of in the works now since probably July. We've been working on this, trying to get it going, to get break ground this fall.
Anything else, Mr. Piper?
No.
Okay. Will this get rid of all the porta potties out there?
I'm sorry?
Will this get rid of all the porta potties?
Well, I'd be guessing if I told you, but it'll probably eliminate the need for darn near all of them.
Okay, so what about cleaning and maintenance ongoing?
This is to be part of the park recreation staff.
Okay, which they're doing the other buildings now anyway.
Right.
Okay. Any other questions, council? Anything to add, administration? Okay. All right, all those in favor of authorizing purchase order to the House Building Company for $62,045 for the construction of a restroom facility at the city park, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Passes unanimously, thank you. And we now move on to citizens' comments. As I understand it, we have one citizen that would like to address council. Please come forward, state your name and address. And we'll give you your full 5 minutes, if you need it.
My name is Eleanor McGuire, I live at 424 Lafayette, Urbana, Ohio. And I'm here to, again, pose the question about the zoning, for the building of a medical facility out east of Walmart. I'm concerned about the impact on the hospital, and I'm just really concerned that maybe we haven't let the community know that, it may impact our ability to provide all the services. I can't, attest to that, but I see that, with these other facilities coming in, they do not have to accept people without money and insurance, where the hospital has to. And I feel like we need to at least question the validity of that, and how that will impact our community when we have many people. And I knew it from this because I worked in the ER for 15 years, and there are a lot of people that cannot see their family doctor, because even if we make a referral to a physician that's supposed to see them for one visit, they may charge $50 to $70 to see that person for that visit. So consequently, if the care isn't adequate, they'll be back to the ER again. And I feel like we need to support our hospital, our local hospital. And if you feel in any way this zoning is gonna impact our ability to care for our people that have no resources in our community, I wish you would think about maybe tabling it and seeing if there's
changes, there's two ordinances that are related to this item. One is the actual zoning map change, basically updating the zoning map. However, there wouldn't be an official, our current zoning map would stay in effect because the way our zoning map identifies planned unit developments, it does not call out sub-areas. There's other maps for sub-areas. So that being said, basically sub-area E, pending this ordinance passage, would essentially become an area that's designated for office or medical campus use as opposed to residential or open space use. So this ordinance is to the map itself. The second ordinance is the zoning text. Okay. Mr. Pena, any questions?
As I got told today by Mrs. McGuire about, she made some valid points about what can go in there after this goes into effect. I mean, and I talked to you earlier. Can you restate what you told me earlier, just so people can have a clear identification of what's going on?
Certainly. There are a broad array of medical services or related services that the text provides for them to be able to do, or anyone that would develop at that site. That being said, with anything, there has to be a market demand. There are some services that have been initially proposed for this development that those services are not currently being provided in the market. So there may be some overlaps, but there are some services that they've identified that are new to the Urbana market as a whole. So ultimately, there are a broad list of things, but there has to be a market demand for that to happen.
So they just can't come in and put up a brand new hospital if there's not a demand, correct?
They're not going to invest millions of dollars if there's not a demand for that space. So ultimately, we're considering land use. We're not considering, free market capitalism as far as what, market demand may drive. So.
Thank you.
Mr. Thackeray.
I have no questions right now. I think we've kind of covered this a lot. And I think some people get confused about it. I think what you two gentlemen just talked about, it clarifies that pretty well. We're not here to limit competition between entities. We're here to zone the property so that it meets the zoning requirements that we want in that area. So I think we'll get there.
Okay. Mr. Scott.
No questions, thank you.
Mr. Hoffman.
Yeah, I can definitely, see Mr. McGuire's point. But again, as the other fellows have said up here, we're not making the decision to build or not build a facility that provides medical services. We're here to talk about appropriate zoning for a location, which our zoning board has signed off on. And that area is definitely acceptable for that type of application. And I don't know that a medical facility coming to town to provide services that may or may not already be here will completely negatively affect the hospital. And I know most companies, at least from what I've understood, would see a need in the community based on folks maybe going to Columbus or Marysville or Springfield, and enough Urbana folks go that way, or people in the county, that they put a facility here in Urbana to suit those needs. And if the hospital were currently doing that, I would doubt that there would be money to be made in that market space. But again, that's not what we're here to decide. That's my personal opinion on that, the business side of that issue. That's all I have. Thanks, Dwight.
Mr. Fields.
I think everybody else has kind of clarified it, and we're not here to tell them they're building their hospitals just for land use.
Mr. Piper. Okay. Well, one thing we talked about early on too with the land use is originally when that plot of land was laid out as a planned unit development, it was going to be residential. And part of that was there was a concern about, from neighbors, especially along Dugan Road, about having retail establishments on that particular parcel. This is a little bit different in having more professional type space built for medical use versus retail that might be 24/7 or gas stations or whatever it may be. We think we talked early on, and we talked with the Planning Commission, this is a nice transitional land use between retail and residential. So even though it wouldn't be used as the original concept of residential, it would be a good transition between the retail we have and the residential we have. So just add that, because that has been discussed as part of this. Okay, council, any last questions? This is a third. Go ahead, Mr. Hoffman.
This is a question question that's relevant but kind of off to the side. Do you know when an emergency room treats a patient that cannot pay for their services, is that facility reimbursed by the state, or how does that reimbursement happen? You
I
guys know?
can't speak to that, I don't know.
I'll
Anything
find
else?
out. I didn't know they know. That's all.
Last chance, anyone else? Okay, this is the third reading. Can we have roll call on passage, please?
Mr. Pena?
Yes.
Mr. Thackeray?
Yes.
Mr. Piper?
Yes.
Mr. Paul?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Fields?
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Okay, we'll declare ordinance number 4461-16 to pass unanimously. Second item, please.
Ordinance number 4462-16, an ordinance to formally adopt the official zoning text for office and medical campus uses for sub-area E of the Urbana Commons PUD.
Okay, council, do we have a motion on ordinance number 4462-16?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Doug?
Again, this is the actual zoning text that calls out land use, including the permitted uses there, including accessory uses, setbacks, density, lot size, building height, site access and traffic circulation, parking, architecture, signage, landscaping, lighting, and service areas, trash receptacles, things like that.
Okay. Mr. Hoffman, any questions?
No.
Okay. Mr. Scott?
No questions, thanks.
Mr. Thackeray?
No, sir.
Mr. Pena?
No questions, thank you.
Mr. Piper?
Question?
Mr. Fields?
Nothing.
So just one question, Doug, just to clarify. So we put the zoning text in for this. The total acreage is 11.53, so on and so on acres. This verbiage covers the entire 11.5, not just the 4.5 that they're.
Correct, yes, it's for the whole parcel as it exists today.
Okay.
So we've tried to anticipate future development as far as curb cuts and access and things like that, just so that those are planned for accordingly now versus later.
Okay. This is a third reading, council. Last chance to ask any questions. Any final questions? Administration, any final comments? Okay, roll call on the passage of ordinance number 4462-16, please.
Mr. Thackeray?
Yes.
Mr. Piper?
Yes.
Mr. Paul?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Fields?
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mr. Pena?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance number 4462-16 passes unanimously. And our last third reading, please.
Ordinance number 4463-16, an ordinance to adopt the solid waste management plan for the Allen Champaign Parking Madison Shelby Union Joint Solid Waste Management District, North Central Ohio Solid Waste District.
Okay, council, do we have a motion on ordinance number 4463-16?
I'll move.
Second.
It was Mr. Thackeray and Fields. Mr. Fields was the second, okay. Okay, administration, who would like to speak to
I'll
this item?
provide another kind of a brief update. I think everybody will have an opportunity to maybe go online and check out this draft of the revised solid waste management plan. Again, the opportunity that we have right now is the previous plan that we're currently under was established in 2010 and was based on 2007 data. And the intent on that was to run from 2010 to 2024. Then as you move through, when there's opportunities or needs to adjust the plan, to bring it back into compliance, if you will, or to make the appropriate updates, then highly EA request that there be an update. So the current update for 2016 is based on reference year 2013 data. So this will run from 2017 to 2031. Some of the key items that they look at as they start to evaluate any revisions is the population. And for our district, they anticipate that the population is going to remain stable and possibly a slight increase of 2.75% increase in the region, not necessarily Champaign County. In our district, we generated 641,421 tons of solid waste. That's 10.98 pounds per person per day. That's a lot of, when you stop and think about, put that in perspective, that's total. If you take just the residential and the commercial, that's 291,020 tons, which is 4.94 pounds per person per day. So you stop and think, everybody in here is generating almost 5 pounds of solid waste a day. It's a significant amount of solid waste that has to be managed within the district. So through the efforts of the district, they've been able to reduce or recycle or compost nearly 61,000 tons in that same period of time. So, the goal is to continue to work on management plans, how you're gonna handle this, looking for opportunities to, one of the goals is to provide access for 90% of the residents or 90% of the population to some type of waste management control. And we met that goal ongoing, so we're gonna continue to shoot for that. Goal number 2 is to target for reduction in recycling of about 52%. In 2013, we were at 52%. 2017, they plan on being at, they think they can get that up to about 54%, and probably drop back somewhere 52 to 54% over the next following years. So the challenge is trying to educate people, provide resources, provide opportunities, and that's one of the things we do locally here in terms of having the curbside recycling, which is a pretty respected program in the district. For instance, 2013 curbside recycling totals by the reporting community, Urbana ranks number 4 in all the communities in our district. So we're behind Lima, Marysville, and London. We're recycling, in 2013, we recycled 487 tons. That says a lot for the program that we have here. And as you may recall, early next year, we'll be going out and rebidding that program. So we've run its course, we've extended it 2 times for 1 year each. So next year, we'll be going out and looking for an opportunity to rebid that. One of the other things that kind of, I just took the next excerpts out of the report. What are the, some of the methods of solid waste management in total tons? 62% of solid waste goes to landfill. So stop and think how much, we're not diverting. That says it's a significant amount. About 31% go to transfer stations where everything dumps, they sort it, and then some of that will go back, because they're recycled, then 7% go to incineration. The nearest landfill that probably the majority of our haulers will utilize is Cherokee Run up in Logan County. In 2013, they accepted 353,058 tons just in Logan County at that landfill. So pretty significant amount of material going into the ground, and based on projections and where they are, they've got about 41 and a half years left of capacity at that facility. So some of us will see the end of that, some of us won't. And
we're not saying do though, right?
One other highlight in the report is the fact that what communities and what organizations are composting yard waste management activities by the district. In Champaign County, we have the residential material for yard waste and recycling, compost, and 1,185 tons in 2013. So that's a significant impact again of yard waste that's not going into the system somewhere else. So again, all in all, I think it's been a successful program for us. It's been a successful program for the district, and it makes sense to move forward, approve this revised plan, and let it move forward. I know the commissioners are acting on it. Probably, if they haven't already, they're going to be acting on it here soon. And just ask for your support and bring it forward.
Okay, council. Questions, Mr. Thackeray?
No questions.
Okay, Mr. Scott?
Nope.
Mr. Hoffman?
No, sir.
Mr. Fields?
No, sir.
Mr. Piper?
No, thank you.
Mr. Pena?
No, but thanks for all the info right there, very, very eye-opening.
Any additional items that administration wants to add? Any further questions? Last chance, this is the third reading. Okay, roll call on the passage of ordinance number 4463-16, please.
Mr. Piper?
Yes.
Mr. Paul?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Fields?
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mr. Pena?
Yes.
Mr. Thackeray?
no second readings this evening. We have 3 first readings, if you would please.
Resolution number 2492-16, a resolution declaring necessity and intent to appropriate an interest in real property for the East U.S. Route 36 roadway reconstruction project and declaring an emergency. Rule suspension requested.
Okay, council, we have a request to suspend the 3 reading rules for resolution number 2492-16. Would you like to deal with the rules first or hear an explanation from administration before we do anything? Explanation first? Okay.
Okay, as you remember, we embarked on a process to acquire the necessary right-of-way along 36 for the project next year. Some of the parcels that we have to acquire are what they call temporary right-of-way, which basically means that once construction started, it allows a construction worker to stand in somebody's yard and do the work if they need to. So if they're pouring concrete, they can stand in the yard and form the concrete, and they have the right to be there. So in this particular parcel that we're looking at tonight, it's a temporary acquisition. It's 24 months from the date the contractor enters the property. It's a temporary easement that's recorded, and it lasts for 24 months from the time the project gets underway. That being said, our negotiator our consulting firm, their negotiator, has been working. We basically, remember, we did appraisals and then review appraisals and certified those values to the negotiator, and then he went out and started hitting the pavement, contacting property owners, sending them mailings, things like that. And overall, we've been pretty successful acquiring what we need. We do have to have all of the right-of-way in place by the middle of November and secured so that ODOT can move us through the next part of the process. That being said,